Do you have some big goals you're looking to achieve? Well, good. You're just like me. I have some big goals I'm looking to achieve here in the next year or so, and I'll change those goals and update them, and I'll have new goals. But I just want to do a quick video here. I'm actually working on my goals for second quarter of 2019 for the upcoming quarter. So depending on when you're watching this, could be way in the past, or you could be watching this and second quarter 2019 is right here upon us. But it just had me thinking about a couple things that I found work for me. Well, anyway, my name is Kevin from MaximizingEcommerce.com. I help people build e-commerce businesses they can be proud of. And I just wrote down a few things here that I think would help. So hopefully the lighting's good, because I had to kind of position myself because there's wind here. So just bear with me on this video. Hopefully you at least find the content to be helpful. If you do, I'd love it if you could click the little like and subscribe button. But anyway, back to the content itself, which is what we're here about. One of the tips I wanted to start off with is just get away. It's good to get away from your normal circumstances as to what you do day to day. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It doesn't have to be going on vacation. You don't have to have water behind you. I just happen to be lucky that this little inlet here basically goes out to the ocean. And it's not too far from where I live, so I get to have the benefit of this beautiful park as a place to go. But maybe you don't have, something like this, but you have other places you can go. Maybe it's just going to the local Starbucks, or going to a local park. Maybe you don't have airplanes flying over you like I do right now. I'm not sure if it's picking up on the microphone, but anyway, just get away from your local surroundings. So for me, it's like going into my office or my house, which I do every single day. That over time just gets to be get me into a routine and kind of a routine way of thinking. So if I want to break out of the pattern and think about the future in a different way and start planning out something that's somewhat of a breakthrough, or just doing things a little differently and improving my results, I got to think differently, and sometimes just getting to a different vantage point and looking at things literally in a different way, because I'm looking at different things, can be helpful. Next, make sure you write your goals down. So like for me, I got this little notebook here, was writing all my notes in it. So I've got things I want to work on for the next quarter, wrote them down, because I think there's just something magical about this. Take paper and one of these little guys, a pen, doesn't have to be a fancy notebook or a fancy pen. You could just be writing it down. And you can also use note cards like I did for my notes for this this video. That when you actually write something down, there's just something about the process of putting the paper to the pen, or the pen to the paper, I should say, and it just, the muscle memory of writing it down, just it's something that I can't even really describe. But for me, I find it to be so much more beneficial than just typing out goals. Now, I also find it beneficial, I'll take these goals and I'll type them up later, but there's something to be said about actually writing them down on paper, physically writing them down with a paper and a pen. So my big challenge to you is write them down. Next, challenge yourself. You should feel a little uncomfortable when you write your goals down. Like, how am I going to accomplish this? Don't get too caught up in that just especially in the first step, where you're just thinking down, like, what is it I want to accomplish? Now, it should be somewhat realistic. Like if you don't have a business up and running yet, to say I'm going to do $1 million next month is not possible. Well, I wouldn't say it's not possible. It's highly unlikely unless you had like a lot of money to invest or a lot of expertise or something like that. But what's more important than anything is momentum. So if you're here and you want to go here, you got to find ways of building momentum along the way. So it's all about feeling somewhat uncomfortable. And I would say whatever you think is possible that you could achieve, like let's say in the next 3 months, go just a little bit beyond that and write that down. So it should be a stretch goal. It should stretch you outside of your comfort zone. And don't just say, well, I just want to be able to achieve it so I can check it off the box. Because sometimes it's better to go, up here in your goal and land here, just short of it, than to come in and say, you know what, I'm going to put my goal here so it's safe, so that I achieve it, so I can feel like I checked off the box. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you actually hit your goal or not. It's, are you making progress? Are you making momentum? That's the most important part, more than anything. And one little quote that kind of sticks out in my mind is, as Tony Robbins would say, oops, don't get stuck in the tyranny of how. Because oftentimes we do get stuck in the tyranny of how. I'm gonna move this little camera here since the wind's blowing this, so sorry about that, bear with me. The next up, use powerful words. Too often people use words that are kind of wishy-washy, like I'd like, I hope, it would be nice. If you can use powerful words like I will, I must, I'm going to, it's going to register in your brain a lot differently than if you just say, I'd like to do something. I'd like to do something is like, yeah, sure you would. I'd like to do that, or it'd be nice, or I should. But we don't get our shoulds, we get our musts. So focus on using powerful words. And then the next step I would say is find a way to mention them publicly. So it might be putting it out there, like it doesn't have to be on a YouTube video, it could be talking to your friends or whatever, but find someone that you trust, that you can confide in with what your goals are, that's gonna challenge you a little bit. And not just someone that's gonna just say, yes, that's great, or someone else that's gonna be like, oh, but you know, you never seem to achieve your goals, or you know, that's not gonna be possible, you know, it's so hard. You know, don't find people that are gonna just tell you how hard it is. Find people that are going to hold you accountable in a nice way. You know, they might just ask, how is it going with that thing? Or people that are going to give you some level of belief in what you're doing, but not just people that are just going to say, yeah, that's great, no matter what you say. And also at the same end of the spectrum, you don't want just people that are just going to be naysayers, because you don't want negative feedback unless it's, you know, something that's constructive. Because there's people that can give you negative feedback, but their intent is to help you, as opposed to other people that, like, sometimes there's people out there, and I'm sure you know what because you've probably dealt with them, where it's like everything is negative because it's almost like they're trying to raise themselves up, or they're trying to protect you, or what, it doesn't matter what their point is, but they're not really trying, they don't have a goal of helping you improve, or even helping themselves improve. It's just sometimes people are just funny like that. Then next, what I would say is set up one action item you can do right away to get momentum on your goal. Because remember, if your goal is this big, hairy elephant, so to speak, you don't have to eat the whole elephant in one sitting, especially if you're looking at things like quarterly or yearly, or, you know, over the course of whatever time period. You can break things up into steps. Like, even if you're looking at something you're going to do in the afternoon, you can break it up into smaller steps, because it's a lot easier to do smaller steps. And if you start doing a few smaller steps towards that goal, you're going to feel more like you're making progress and getting that momentum, and that momentum is just going to want to keep going. There really is an inertia in when you're doing things. So I would say, what is one item you can do right away? So I'll give something publicly that I'm working on. I wrote down to, you know, not just do this, put out content more consistently, which is what my goals was for the last quarter, which I've done pretty well on. I think I could have done a better job in the last quarter, but I'm not going to beat myself up. I definitely put out a lot more videos than I had the previous several quarters. But I did, you know, for this quarter that we're ending in right now, I did do a lot more videos and things consistently on this channel. But my next thing I want to do into next month, to kind of build on some of that momentum from that one goal, you see how one goal can build momentum on another, is going to be to roll out a podcast. And this is something I've been wanting to do for a while, but see, wishy-washy language is like, I'd want, I'd like, it would be nice. So I'm not going to use those words. It's going to be, I must. And so I'm going to hold myself accountable. In fact, if you watch this, feel free, if you're watching in the future, Kevin, did you actually do this? And you can leave it in the comment section down below. So I'm going to go register for Libsyn, which is like a hosting platform. So just like on YouTube, you host videos on YouTube. I'm gonna find a hosting platform, Libsyn. I'm going to register an account with Libsyn, put in my credit card so that I'm starting to pay for it. So that if I don't do this, now I'm starting to feel a little bit of pain, and the pain in not making momentum on my goal of having the podcast out. Because I can just repurpose some of the videos I've already done, some that have been interviews, or some just as myself, and I can record new videos that can be both podcasts and YouTube videos. Because there's a lot we can do when we're repurposing the work we do in multiple ways. And you can also do that in your own e-commerce business as well. So if you're creating content, you can put it in multiple different platforms as well. So anyway, whatever your goals are, I'd love to know what they are. I'd love to see if there's ways I can help you along the way. I will just throw out a shameless plug here. If your goal is to launch into international marketplaces on Amazon, don't make it a should, make it a must. In fact, one thing you could do to start taking action on that right now is just go to CanadaChecklist.com and download the free checklist I put together with step-by-step how you can do that in Canada. So I'm just using this more as an example, although it is a little self-promotional, so just bear with me here. But you could go step-by-step on those things. Now, maybe it's not selling internationally, maybe it's something else. That's fine too. There's other things you can do. So, I must be launched by the end of the quarter. I must have, everything lined up to be ready to launch a new product by the end of the quarter. Whatever the case is, challenge yourself. What is something I can do that's going to take me out of my comfort zone, with that goal of, let's say it's a quarterly goal like I'm working on right now, or what is something I can do, or actually not an or, this is an and what is something I can do almost immediately as soon as I'm done with this to be up and running with my goal. So challenge yourself. What is one thing you can do towards that goal that you can be up and running? Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to bump that there, right away. So anyway, hopefully you found this video to be helpful. Again, if you did, please click the little thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing to this channel so I can let you know when other videos become available, or at least YouTube can let you know. And I wish you the best in your e-commerce journey. Take care, and all the best. Have a great day. Bye-bye.